Hello and welcome to IBTimes UK. I'm joined by Natalie Bennett, the leader of the Green Party of England and Wales. Hello Natalie, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here.
We'll start off with the surge in popularity the Green Party has seen this year, and yet your party has been excluded from the proposed TV debates for the general election next year. Why are you so outraged by this?
Well, I think what we're seeing is both a failure of fairness, but also a real failure of democracy. The fact is what we're seeing at the moment with the debates is we've got the inclusion of Nigel Farage from UKIP, and that's very much dragging the political debate to the right. What's missing is a whole range of voices, which the Green Party is one of the representatives of. The anti-austerity voices who are saying, this Tory government has failed even in its own terms with austerity. We need a different kind of society, one that works for the common good, not for the few. And if we're not represented in these debates, that voice is missing. And then if you actually look at the maths, the fact that we're polling level with, or in the most recent poll, 2 points above the Lib Dems. If you look at the fact that we've seen the Green surge that's seen our membership up more than 100% this year, and if you add in the Scottish Greens, because I'm the leader of the England and Wales Green, adds the Scots in, and we're getting very close to this kind of membership levels of UKIP and Lib Dems. So we have, this public support is demonstrable. We should be there to help balance the debate. And I think that's reflected in the fact that we had a poll out this week which showed that 79% of people, and this was conducted by ICM under full statistical conditions, 79% of British people think we should be in the debates.
People say that politics, certainly in the UK, is dominated by charismatic personalities, your likes of Nigel Farage on the right or Russell Brand on the left. Would the Green Party do better if it had more charismatic figures within its party? Could you do with a Russell Brand, say?
I think the thing is, we do politics differently, and that kind of, charismatic figure, person who, let's say, tosses their hair around and waves a pint. Viewers can probably think about who I'm thinking of there. We want to talk about serious policies. We want to talk about making the minimum wage a living wage, renationalising the railways, keeping our NHS public, zero tuition fees. And that's the kind of thing that politics should be about. And interestingly, if you look for the Vote for Policies website, which is based on the policies of the 2010 manifestos, based on policies, we're running at 26% of the vote of nearly 500,000 voters and winning. I think it's a matter for us of plugging away, of doing serious, sensible politics that recognises that the status quo, the way we are now, our economic, social and environmental crises, we have to make serious, radical change. It's a real distraction if it's focused on people who are just individual figures. If you look at the Green Party, there's me as leader, there's Caroline Lucas as MP, there's Jenny Jones as a member of the House of Lords. We've got 3 great MEPs in Brussels, and we're a team. And then behind us are the people who make the policy of the Green Party, who work together, help each other, and democratically make the policies of the party. And that's a much more serious force. And I think long term that will pay off.
If you're focusing on your policies then rather than personalities, what are the key 3 policies which you'll be fighting for come the general election next year?
Well, I think what we'll be doing overall is saying we need a society in which everyone has access to the resources for a decent quality of life within the limits of our one planet. We all have to collectively live within that limit. So in terms of practical policies, we're calling for the minimum wage to be made a living wage immediately, and then for that to be lifted to £10 an hour by 2020, which basically means we're offering people a sense of security, a hope, a certainty that's really missing at the moment. And matching up with that, and as part of that too, we need to say we want to have decent benefits available to everybody who needs them. And that should be a decent, humane society has to ensure that everybody gets enough. And that's what we're not doing at the moment. And then if you look at the other side of this, the sort of second group of policy, which is how you pay for that. We at the moment have a situation where multinational companies, big companies, simply aren't paying their way, not paying their fair share of taxes. To pick one example, Amazon last year paid 0.01% of its turnover in tax. No tax at all, effectively, in Britain. And that can't continue. So we're saying that big companies have to pay their tax. They have to stop exploiting, trampling all over small companies. And we very much support small businesses, strong local economies. And we also support a wealth tax because the inequality in our society, even organisations like the IMF and the World Bank recognise that's a problem. And so we're calling for a wealth tax on people who are worth more than £3 million a year, which quite neatly fits into the Occupy's richest 1%. And that would be 1 or 2% a year. And it's not meant to be punitive, it's actually a recognition that rich people are people too. They need the services of society, better services are better for them, and their wealth came from society and they should contribute back.
What would you say to claims that raising the minimum wage, living wage, as well as corporation tax, these are detrimental to creating jobs and growth in the UK economy?
Well, I think first of all, if you look at the jobs argument, we saw when the minimum wage came in, we saw a lot of people going, oh, you know, it'll cost jobs. And demonstrably, it didn't. And we have to set out a basic principle that says, if you work full time, you should earn enough money to live on. And what we saw with the previous government, and indeed this government, is they've allowed the value of the minimum wage to fall in real terms. And that was topped up, particularly under the previous government, with housing benefit and family tax credit. Now that's actually corporate welfare. Workers have to continue to live. They need to keep a roof over their head and have a shower most mornings. That's generally considered, you know, part of most people's jobs. And if you're not paying people enough to do that, and the state has to supplement their wages, then that's actually a supplement for your profits, and that, you know, that simply can't continue. And in terms of, you know, the nature of our society, growth. We think that this focus on growth and GDP, is basically a nonsense. It hasn't delivered. We're not going to see that anyway. What we need to do is really think about, rebalancing our economy back towards manufacturing, food production, decent jobs that people can build a life on. And so that means, at the moment, our finance sector hasn't been reined in. It's truly astonishing that at the end of 2014, we're still talking about, we've really got to deal with this problem of the too big to fail banks. And if you look at the financial sector in Britain, we worry rightly about the national debt, which is around about 100% of GDP. The finance sector has debt of 1,700% of GDP. We have to move away from this overblown, fraud-ridden, corrupt financial sector and get back to putting our money, resources and people into actually the real economy that can give us stability for the future, which the financial sector demonstrably can't.
Natalie Bennett, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.